Hi, y'all. My name's Sue, and I'm 65 years old, and I'm a retired elementary teacher. And today, and for the last week at least, I've been suffering with a fibromyalgia flare, and it's getting pretty frustrating. So I decided to keep a video diary of what it's really like to have fibromyalgia because they call it the invisible disease. I About a week ago, I woke up and I had serious allergy reactions, sneezing, stuffy nose, congested sinuses, and then it went into a migraine, and then it went into the exhaustion and the aching, the deep aching, and all the arthritic spots in my spine were firing sharp pains. So since Sunday, I haven't been able to do anything but sleep. Today, I got up and I thought, okay, it's still part of the problem is the weather's been gloomier than I'll get out this last week. No sun. This morning I woke up, it was drizzling, and we live in Southern California. So this is not the norm, but I guess maybe in North San Diego County it might be. But the bottom line is I'm feeling like crap and I have a million things to do and I don't have the energy to do them. My house is a mess. My two sinks are full of dishes. My laundry is piled on my dresser in my bedroom. And I just went back and got dressed for the first time today. And it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And didn't take a shower. But I've already had a little nap today. And I went back to get dressed and I put my clothes on and washed my face and did all the things you do to get ready for the day. Came out and thought, I've got to get those dishes done. And looked at the sink and I'm just too exhausted. I had to sit back down in my chair. I have a favorite chair that has a heating pad behind it, which is where I spend a lot of my time when I have one of these flares. I can't sleep. I didn't sleep well at last night at all. I was more wired because your nerves are misfiring all the time and not necessarily in pain, just feeling agitated. Even though I took a sleeping pill and an antidepressant and pain pills, ibuprofen and all of those things. And it was just a bad night. And I got up this morning, I didn't feel too bad. But as the day has worn on, I'm starting to feel really bad again. And it has been at least a week. And I'm extremely depressed because I'm so tired of feeling bad. I'm extremely frustrated because it's the invisible illness. You look fine, you go out and you do stuff, and you play the act, and then you go home and you die. And very few people see you in that low point because you just can't function enough to go out. And I do force myself to go out and do things. I had to tutor a little girl yesterday, and I was feeling really bad. My patience was not what it should be with her, but I was able to maintain. And then I stopped at the store and got two things and came home, and that was it for the day. That was it. I was exhausted. And it's very frustrating, and I'm incredibly depressed right now because I'm so tired of not feeling well. I'm so tired of having no energy, and I'm so tired of not being able to function. And you get judged by your dirty house. You get judged by your lack of ability to participate in things. And and I you just there's no energy. There's nothing here. I can't get up and go do stuff. And I really want to. I need to. And I'm kind of at my wit's end. And I I don't want sympathy from people. I don't want them to say, I'm so sorry. All I want is empathy and understanding. And I don't want them to be like an eye roller who you mention what you have and people instantly say, oh, and they look away because they don't know what to say. They don't know what to say. They don't know what it is. And if they haven't really experienced it, which most people haven't, they kind of think it's like a mental illness. And I was a woman, in fact, as a teenager, I was always strong. My first job, they called me Rocky. And as I went on to get married and raise three kids, and I worked full time, and I was in school for my master's at the same time, um, it was I did virtually everything around the house. I didn't have a husband who did, so I did all the kid work, all the repair work, all the bill paying, all the whatever. And I was an elementary school teacher, and I still came home every day and did spelling tests with my own kids and listened to them read, and I sewed costumes for school plays, and I took them trick-or-treating, and I was a one-man band for my whole life. And then in the early 2000s, well, actually, when I turned 40, things started going haywire. And at one point, I was eating myself to death, trying to commit suicide. And I got a handle on that. But there were things. My husband cheated on me and brought me a disease, which later gave me cervical cancer. After 17 years of marriage, my I was alone in raising the three kids, and the high school traumas they went through and the middle school traumas they went through. And there was a point where I was just hanging on by my fingernails, just trying to keep afloat. And then in 2010 or early 2011, I had a bad car accident where I fell asleep and ran into the car in front of me, and I totaled my own car, which was a fairly good sized car, and ended up, I was bruised halfway around my body from a hematoma, and I bruised my sternum, my backbone. And that year happened to be when I was moved in my teaching position to fifth grade from third grade with the most ruthless, unfriendly teachers I'd ever met in my life. And they did everything quietly to sabotage me in the face of the kids, in the face of the principal, everything. And so I was under a tremendous amount of stress when I had that accident. And they say that's what sets off fibromyalgia, is a trauma to the body and stress. And so I don't know if that's when it started, but I haven't felt well since I was about 40. So, but the incapacitation and the exhaustion and the pain were new and different symptoms. And I remember I hit I went outside one day to put the Christmas lights on the bushes, which I had done every year. And the next day I couldn't move. I was chair ridden for the day. So exhausted, it was all I could do to get up and feed my dogs and get a drink. And I'd been starting to have episodes like that. And I went to my doctor and I said, what is causing this? And she rolled her eyes at me and said, well, I'd have to know what you were doing. When my thyroid went bad in my 40s, my doctor kept telling me, I said, I don't feel well. I feel like I have the flu all the time. I'm exhausted. I walk my class out to the front of the school and I have to sit down and rest. And she kept saying, well, you are obese. That was her answer for everything. Finally, she tested me for thyroid because I had laryngitis. Teachers always have laryngitis. We're always talking, abusing our vocal cords because we're talking at a loud volume, and talking 6 hours a day nonstop. But so she tested me for my thyroid, and I was put on thyroid medication, a low dose to start, and instantly many of the symptoms went away. So, and then they would return every now and then, and I would increase my thyroid dose a little bit, and that would help. And now I'm at a dose that maintains pretty well. But then what manifested later with this exhaustion and pain just everywhere, um, it took several years to get that diagnosed. I had doctors roll their eyes at me. I had doctors just brush me off. I don't know what it is. And finally, thank God, my insurance changed and I had to go to a new doctor in a new medical group. And I started talking to him about it. And he said, well, maybe you need to see a rheumatologist. And I'm like, wow, somebody listened. Somebody wanted to hear what I had to say and believed me. And both he and the rheumatologist at that time said my symptoms described fibromyalgia. And so that was when I was given tramadol for pain, and and literally that's what kept me working for the next 6 years. I did retire about 4 years early because of my illness and because the brain fog was getting worse, and it was getting harder and harder for me to get up in the morning and get to work. And I was in a stressful situation with a new principal that was not a nice person. And so I did end up retiring early because of it. And I've never been a quitter. When I moved right after I retired, I became the recreation director for the manufactured home park, the senior park that I live in. I did that for 2 years. I volunteer at my grandchildren's school 2 days a week. And then my doggies got sick and they're costing me a fortune. So now I'm tutoring children 6 days a week for the extra income. So it's not like I'm a sit on your butt, don't do anything kind of person. I've never been Susie Homemaker, but this is even worse. I just can't even get up to go do my dishes, and I'm very frustrated by all of this. Um, Next Monday, or the 1st, July 1st, I'm going to start on the keto diet with a doctor. I can't remember his name, but he's online. I'm going to start on the keto diet. Dr. Josh Axe, because I watched his presentation on PBS and I thought, I've tried everything else. I've given up sugar and dairy, and I'm careful with fats, and I've tried everything else. And so I thought, okay, let me try this for 30 days. I'm not going to die from a diet for 30 days and see if it helps. But just as soon as I think something's helping, I get slammed again. Anyway, so this is my diary today. Today is Tuesday, June 25th, 2019, and tomorrow I'm supposed to go with a couple friends, to a museum and out to lunch. And then she wants to come by my house and we'll have something to eat and watch the debates together. Um, the thought of it is overwhelming to me because I can't even get up and go do my dishes. But I'm hoping to feel better later on so that I can do that. If you want to make comments or have items to share, if you're suffering from this hideous disorder, please feel free on YouTube. Thanks a lot. See you tomorrow. Bye.